The interrogation chamber smelled like blood, ozone, and fear, but none of it belonged to Lieutenant Mara Voss. Strapped to a vertical slab of metal, arms extended, legs bound at the ankles, she hung there like a specimen. The Zhrekk preferred it that way. Cold, clinical, detached. A surgical light bored down on her, casting hard shadows over her bruised face. Her eyes, a pale, human gray, stared unblinking at the commander who had sentenced her. "Your species is unpredictable," Overgeneral Kistal rasped, his voice like sand grinding through metal. His serpentine form loomed over her, ceremonial armor gleaming. "You have no place among civilized species. You breathe contagion, sow chaos, and threaten galactic order with your reckless biology." Mara said nothing. The translator implant in her skull buzzed faintly, translating his words in real time. She let them pass like wind through ruins. Kistal circled her slowly. "You were caught transmitting military data to your forward unit. Espionage, bioterrorism, aggression. The Council might debate ethics, but I've seen enough. Deathworlders don't get trials." Mara cracked a smile, bloodied lips parting. "What's the matter?" "Scared," Kistal hissed, and backhanded her across the jaw. A sharp snap. Her head lolled sideways, but she laughed, soft and low. He recoiled. "Interesting," he murmured, turning to the two guards behind him. "Ready the neural lance." One of the guards stepped forward, holding a weapon designed for pain more than death. The Zhrekk knew they couldn't just kill humans conventionally, not without risk. Their bodies were resilient, stubborn, sometimes even reactive. Earth had earned the classification Deathworld for a reason. Its gravity, weather, fauna, and pathogens had honed humanity into something feared, something lethal, something unwelcome. "We'll end this quickly," Kistal said. "A mercy for a species born in hell." The guard raised the lance. "Stop," Kistal ordered suddenly. He walked closer and leaned in toward Mara's face. "I want to see the fear," he said. Mara met his eyes, then looked closer. She spit blood in his face. It happened quickly after that. The slap of the lance discharging. The hiss of cauterized flesh. Her body slumped against the bindings. Kistal turned away in disgust. "Leave her. Lock the chamber. Send a drone to dispose of the corpse in 1 hour. No one needs to see this mess." The guard complied. The door sealed behind them with a deep hydraulic groan. The surveillance cameras, classified as too dangerous to risk neural relay exposure, flickered and powered down. 23 seconds passed. And then, the door opened again. Mara Voss stepped out into the corridor, barefoot, her uniform torn and blackened at the chest. Smoke curled from a hole burned just above her sternum, already scabbed over. In her left hand, she carried the severed head of Overgeneral Kistal, dripping a steady line of green-black blood onto the floor. The two guards standing outside stared, frozen in silent horror. Mara looked at them and tilted her head slightly. "Run." They did. She walked on. The first second, pain. Electric. Blinding. The neural lance seared through Mara's chest, short-circuiting nerves and stopping her heart for 2 beats. The Zhrekk had done their research, enough to know where the human heart sat, how to hit it clean. But they underestimated human biology. Her heart didn't stop. It paused, then restarted, sluggish but stubborn. Pain flared across her vision, but Mara forced her mind clear. Adrenaline override. Execute protocol. Berserker lock. Her neural implants obeyed, flooding her bloodstream with synthetic adrenaline and shunting pain receptors offline. Her pulse spiked. Pupils dilated. Muscles surged with violent purpose. Second 3. Her left shoulder dislocates with a sickening pop as she strains against the manacles. Bones grind. Ligaments tear. But it's enough. Second 4. She twists her arm out of the restraint, fingers numb but moving. Her right wrist is still caught, so she spins her torso and slams her shoulder against the slab until the bone pops back into socket. A scream claws at her throat, but she swallows it. She doesn't have time for pain. Second 7. The blades eject. Microfilament monomolecular razors, stored in her forearms beneath the skin, slide out between the knuckles with a click. Illegal on most worlds. Standard issue on Earth. Second 10. She slices the remaining restraints. Blood streams down her arms, but she's free. Second 13. Khastal turns back. He never expected her to move again, let alone stand. Too late. Mara lunges. The alien commander's eyes widen. He opens his mouth to call for help, but her blade is already buried in his throat. With the other hand, she grabs the base of his skull, digging fingers beneath plated scales. Second 16. She wrenches his head back with a sickening crunch. Vertebrae snap. The blade finishes its arc. Khastal's head comes free in a spray of blood and slime. His body crumples behind her. Second 19. A guard rushes in through the side door. Protocol breach, but Mara is already moving. She hurls the head like a projectile. It smacks into the Zhrekk's face, sending him stumbling. Before he can recover, she's on him. Second 21. She drives both blades into the guard's chest, using his weight to slide him down the wall. His claws scratch at her shoulders, but find no purchase. Second 23. Silence. Breathing hard, Mara stands in the middle of the ruined chamber, soaked in blood. Some hers, most not. She looks down at Khastal's severed head, still twitching with fading neural signals. You should have made sure. She crouches and picks it up by the horn crown. It's heavier than she expected. Outside the door, she hears movement, guards talking, moving away. Good. She lets the fear do her work for her now. She steps over the body, toward the exit. The lock recognizes the commander's DNA and opens automatically. Light floods in. Two guards wait outside. They turn at the hiss of the door and see her, blood-soaked, barefoot, eyes blazing, holding their commander's head. For a second, no one moves. Then she says it, run. They obey. She walks forward into the corridor, bare feet slapping against metal. Not fast, not stealthy, just inevitable. The siren started exactly 90 seconds after Mara walked out of the chamber. At first, it was just the dull hum of motion sensors detecting something abnormal. Then came the piercing wail of the high-alert klaxons. Red lights flooded the corridors as the ship's AI tried to make sense of the footage. Only there wasn't any. Cameras in the chamber had been offline by Khastal's orders. All the system had were the before and after snapshots. The door sealing with a corpse inside and opening to reveal her alive, bleeding, holding the head of a war hero. No data, no witnesses, only a myth in motion. Panic began to bloom. Zhrekk personnel started vanishing from the lower decks. Some fled toward the escape pods. Others locked themselves in side armories or sealed maintenance corridors. Their chain of command collapsed. No one wanted to be next. Mara walked calmly through the halls of the Varkana. Weapons scavenged from the two guards she downed. One plasma sidearm, one curved shock blade. The commander's head swung from a fiber cord she'd tied to her belt. Fear was the weapon now. She didn't need to kill everyone. She just needed them to believe she could. Mara made her way to the auxiliary command node, a small chamber beneath the bridge used by technicians and engineers. She found it empty. The crew had fled or gone aground. Good. She plugged her wrist jack into the terminal. Her neural implant pulsed once, then synced with the local network. Deathworlder detected. Access denied. The ship's AI warned in a neutral tone. She smirked. Override, protocol gray. Verification code, mother of thunder. The system hesitated, then unlocked. A gift from Earth's intelligence division, planted months ago, waiting to be used. Now is her scalpel. With deft keystrokes, she looped external camera feeds, jammed internal comms, and shut down biometric locks on every escape pod bay. Let them see her coming, but never know where she truly was. Let them guess which airlock would open next, which vent would hiss with movement. She activated the environmental controls and piped in a recorded loop of Khastal's voice, distorted and corrupted. She is inside the walls. She cannot die. She is vengeance incarnate. The phrase repeated through decks 7 through 9, and Mara heard the chaos explode as a group of Zhrekk soldiers began turning on each other in the dark. She leaned back in the chair, eyes closed, breathing steady. This wasn't a fight anymore. It was a legend being born. In the bridge, 30 meters above her, the Varkana's senior surviving officer, Subcommander Vries, snarled into the comms. "We have a Deathworlder loose aboard this vessel. Full containment protocol. Disable lifts. Vent non-essential corridors. And for the love of the stars, someone kill her." No one responded. He turned to the ship's AI. "Status. Command network disruption. Environmental systems compromised. Deck 7 through 10 are unresponsive. Crew cohesion has fallen below 30%. Vree's scaled brow furrowed. "What does that mean?" The AI paused. Then, with unsettling calm, replied, "It means you have lost control." Back in the auxiliary node, Mara finished her upload. The AI core would take 10 more minutes to destabilize and wipe itself completely, rendering the Varkana a floating tomb. She rose from the chair, checked her weapons, and moved to the escape pod bay. The corridors were quiet now. Not calm, just empty. Her boots echoed against the floor as she passed signs of collapse. Weapons discarded mid-run, claw marks on the walls, alien blood smeared in handprints. She stopped at a viewport. Below, the war-scarred surface of the planet turned slowly. Her mission had been simple. Infiltrate the Zhrekk command ship, upload a virus, cripple their fleet AI before the next planetary assault. Kastal had made it personal when he ordered her execution. Now his people knew what it meant to provoke a Deathworlder. Mara sealed the escape pod behind her. Countdown initialized. As the pod launched into darkness, she closed her eyes. The ship behind her began to burn. The escape pod broke atmosphere at sunrise. It came down fast, a streak of dull fire over the horizon, skimming the mountain ridges before slamming into a cratered valley on the edge of the human forward base. Soldiers rushed to the impact site in full combat gear, expecting another Zhrekk projectile, maybe a trap. What they found instead was Lieutenant Mara Voss climbing out of the hatch, bleeding, smoke trailing from her torn uniform, and dangling from her belt, swaying in the morning breeze, was the severed head of Overgeneral Kastal. The soldiers stared. No one moved. Then someone whispered, "No F********** ing way." Mara sat in the infirmary, shirtless under a thermal blanket as a medic stitched a jagged wound in her side. Her expression was calm, but her body trembled slightly from the come-down, adrenaline burning off like fog under sunlight. Across the room, Commander Ibarra, her mission handler, stood with arms crossed, jaw tight. "You were declared Kia 40 minutes ago," he said. "I got better." He didn't laugh, just stared at the thing in the containment bag beside her cot. "That's really him. DNA match. Facial lattice intact. Probably still got brain activity, if you want to poke it." Ibarra shook his head slowly. "You killed the Supreme Commander of the Zhrekk Dominion. Alone, with no backup, and you walked out." After 23 seconds, Mara added. He paused. "Why the head?" She looked up at him. "Because a kill report isn't enough. Not with the Zhrekk. They don't respect data. They respect dominance. Fear." Ibarra said nothing for a moment. "Then, we're broadcasting it." The Holovid feed went live 2 hours later, across the human sectors, and then across the fringe systems. Then deeper, into neutral territories, into the black markets of the fringe, into Zhrekk-controlled comm nets. Carried on signal ghosts, pirate relays, civilian shares. The screen showed Mara Voss in a black undershirt, arms crossed, bruised and bloodied, standing behind a steel table. On the table sat Kastal's head, clean to blood but untouched. Its eyes still open. She looked directly into the camera. "This is Lieutenant Mara Voss. Earthborn. Deathworlder." She spoke slowly, clearly. "Your commander is dead. He ordered my execution after violating treaty protocols. He thought humans die easy, that we break under pressure. That Earth was just another feral world to cage." She leaned in slightly, voice sharper now. "He was wrong." She stood back and gestured toward the head. "This is your warning. This is what happens when you shoot a Deathworlder." There was no music, no threat, no dramatics, just the image and the truth behind it. The message played once. Then it played again, and again, millions of times across thousands of systems. In a darkened war chamber light years away, a Zhrekk admiral watched the footage, claws tapping nervously on his throne's armrest. Officers stood still, not daring to speak. Finally, the Admiral muttered, "Initiate ceasefire review." "Sir." "Immediately." Back at base, Mara sat outside the infirmary, sipping bitter coffee with one hand while the other rested on a bandaged thigh. A junior soldier approached and sat beside her awkwardly. "You were really gone just 23 seconds?" he asked. She nodded. "Didn't need more." The kid grinned. "You're a legend now." "I was already a legend," she said, sipping again. "Just hadn't told anyone yet." A silence stretched. The air was clean. The sky above the valley burned orange with sunrise. "Think the Zhrekk will back off?" the kid asked. Mara finished her coffee and stood. "They'll think twice." She walked away, slow but steady, into the growing light. Behind her, the base loudspeakers echoed a new transmission, a message from the Galactic Council requesting urgent talks with Earth. Because now they knew, Deathworlders don't bluff. They warn you, and then they deliver.